Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jambo. Bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you find your podcast. We have two great authors we are going to introduce you to today. Melissa K. Moore, the author of What's My Emoji, and Adam Kargman, the author of Abracadabra Whoopsie. Before we begin, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by Usborne Graphic Classics Alice in Wonderland. When Alice follows a white rabbit into his burrow, she enters a fantastic world of weird and wonderful characters. Lewis Carroll's classic fantasy story is faithfully retold in this gorgeously illustrated comic book adaptation. These entertaining, action-packed graphic legends and graphic classics provide a great gateway to somewhat difficult stories for reluctant readers to learn to enjoy. I really love Usborne's graphic classic series. Graphic novels are a great way to inspire kids who are intimidated by reading, have difficulty with reading, to learn to love to read. Check it out today. Go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the bookstore, and get your copy of Alice in Wonderland, an Usborne graphic classic. Joining us right now from San Antonio in the great state of Texas. She is here to celebrate a wonderful series of books for our little ones. Please welcome to the show, Melissa K. Moore. Melissa, how are you?
Hi, Jed. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm really curious, too. I'll be very, very honest with you. I am really intrigued by your book. It's the name of the series is My First Emojis, and I'm really intrigued. I'm delighted, but I'm also kind of scared. Give me an overview of the series, please.
Yes, the My First Emoji books introduces kids to all the fun emojis that are used as a universal language in, as we know, in today's digital communications. The books are written in simple text, and I use a kind of rebus, which is kind of a throwback, where the child follows along with their finger as you read the text. The child can read the emojis with you. And in the What's Emoji book, the kids learn parts of the body. And in Where's Emoji, they learn flags of different countries from around the world. By reading emoji style, as I like to say, with the lovable character emoji.
Well, I love the Where's Emoji idea. I think one of the things that we've lost is the idea of geography, especially here in the States. You know, most people in the United States, they know Canada, they know Mexico, our neighbors. They might know England and Spain and, China. But, they don't know a lot more countries than that.
No, and there are over 186 flags. Of course, I couldn't feature them all in the books, but I focus on the 8 major countries. And you would be amazed at even adults not recognizing flags of countries. So I think it's very important for kids to learn their flags.
I absolutely agree with you. I'll be on, I was sharing with you before we started the interview. We host international kids here in our home, and, understanding that there are different countries and there are other presidents than ours, and there are different flags than ours. It's kind of embarrassing to think that there are a lot of Americans who are just, yep, it's here, America. I don't need to know anything else about anywhere else.
No, I agree, and it just opens them up that we're all one world, and that we can communicate, and we are communicating through emojis, in all languages. So that's kind of, a play that I like to. Emojis bring us all together. You don't have to have one language. Everyone is reading emojis.
I said at the outset that this idea, delighted me, and it also kind of scared me. There's a part of me that's worried that we'll be, just communicating with emojis and hieroglyphics, and it feels like it's kind of going backwards in some ways.
Well, my hope for the book is that that kids will have fun seeing and learning about this creative form of communication, not to take the place of writing, but as an artistic way of expression and inspiring them to read, because kids read with images first. So I kind of take the concept of, yes, you have a book with just pictures and words. I take it a step further than that with the emoji books, and that I have them combined with text so they can read the image, and I just use the emojis as the image in the story.
Sure.
And to teach them. So they're participating. It's interactive. They're having fun. And all kids love to see emojis. They just, and with the character emoji, the illustrations are just, the character just brings the book to life.
Yeah. Well, you're right. As I'm sitting here thinking, I remember back to when my kids were young, 1, 2 years old. And there were books that had text and then like a picture of a cow or a dog, and that was kind of the fun. It's like, this is and then the kid, my kids could look and go, oh, it's a dog. That's a dog.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I just use the emojis as a way to they can learn emojis while learning to read in a fun way. Yeah. So I can understand where people are concerned, like, no, I don't want my kids to read emojis, but I just use them as pictures to go along with the text. And see, what I do is I'll use the text for the emoji first, and then the next time I use just the picture, so they can read the picture.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes, I'm almost 100 years old, so there's a part of me that just is, this new technology stuff, I want to resist it. But the fact of the matter is that it is out there, and it is an aid. It helps us communicate quicker. I do get concerned when I see teenagers and 20-year-olds and all they're doing is using emojis. But I could definitely see that this could really be beneficial for young kids.
Yes, it is. They're very expressive too. Emojis are so, and the pictures are very vibrant in the book. So, and I want to do like more adventures with the books too. So, kind of like Emoji goes to space or Emoji goes to camp, and make it really fun and incorporate the emojis, because those are emojis in there as pictographs, which that's how emojis were created. They were pictograms, and emoticons that they used in digital. And, they have a whole consortium of emojis that they're bringing in to digital communications. And it's part of our technology, so you're kind of, we are moving in that direction of using more technology and encouraging kids to do programming as well, and get involved in web design and digital communication.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I'm getting now, what's Emoji and where's Emoji? They're available now, and as I understand it, How's Emoji is coming. Am I right in thinking that How's Emoji is talking to kids about their feelings?
Yes, it does. It depicts all the emoji emotions with expressions. So they'll be able to, it'll be from like scared to excited, from sad to glad. Okay. So I cover a lot, and the expressions, and it talks about how emoji's feeling, but really at the end it's how the kid is feeling. Yeah. And and it has I'm not going to give away the ending yet, so, but it reminds everyone how to feel loved and love yourself.
Well, I think that that's really important. One of the things we've talked a lot about here on the podcast is just the idea that we as parents need to help our kids learn how to identify how it is they're feeling. Before we can expect kids to deal with their feelings and to react appropriately to their feelings, we need to help them identify what it is they're feeling. So many times feelings like disappointment and sadness and frustration, they come out as anger. And because the kids don't know how to differentiate and they don't know how to express themselves. So I think that this is a great first step, something that we can start using with our kids at a very, very young age to help them understand what it is that they're feeling and to help them express what it is they're feeling. I'm imagining that a family that has House Emoji in their family library, that kid could pick up a book and point to one of the emojis when he's feeling sad or when he's feeling disappointed or scared.
Exactly. And they'll be able to identify, like you said, and also know the expression. And so then they can internalize it themselves and be able to say how they're feeling, which I agree with you. A lot of people hold their feelings inside. So I think, or don't know the word to go with that feeling. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's great, a book, and I like to see other books that talk about feelings of kids so they know how to express themselves.
Now, what inspired you to create My First Emojis?
This is a funny story. Okay. I got my iPhone 7 back when 2017, and when I started sending messages, I saw these images popping up on my phone, and I was like, okay, what are these? So I don't like to use anything unless I know what it means and stands for. I mean, I know the word, but there were other emojis that I didn't know what they meant. So I went online and I looked at the Emojipedia. That does exist. Everyone's like, there's an Emojipedia, and I'm like, yes, it's online. So then I started learning about the different emojis that you could use in communication and what they meant and how to use them. And I thought, how cute would this be to write a book using emojis to help kids, have fun reading and learning to read. So that was where the inspiration came from. I was like, is anyone writing these books already? And so I looked, and they do have baby emoji. But like I said, baby emoji just has the emoji and the word. And like I said, I wanted to write a story where the kid could read it and read the emojis and learn from the objects of the emojis.
Now, have you wanted to be a children's author for a long time? Yes.
And it's funny you mentioned that. Growing up, I was always writing stories, and even through high school. And I did want to pursue a writing career, but as life goes, it kind of sends you in a different direction. I do write in my job, but not children's books. I write contracts. So I'm doing some sort of writing, but I've always had a passion. My mom's a librarian, so books was always around, reading and just, encouraging my kids, my girls to read too. So, and actually they are writers as well. So I am like showing them that no matter what age or no matter, how long it may take, when the inspiration comes, you can, fulfill a long lost dream. Yeah. So, never too old or too late.
What was your mom, the librarian's reaction when she saw your first book?
Oh, she cried. She is just so, she's always wanted, and she's always encouraged me, and I know she has wanted to write a book for a long time. She's going to tell me that, but I'm encouraging her, and her seeing me do it, has inspired her too. So now that I have written books, I'm helping and inspiring everyone else, friends, family, anyone. I'm like, if you have a story, write it. You can write it. Don't be scared, and I, guide them through the process.
Now, I'm curious. You say in your day job, you're writing contracts. Do you ever get frustrated and say, the heck with it, I'm using emojis in this contract?
No. No, I wish I could. And so, it's definitely not in contracts, but in email communications, they're now in your email during business. Like, I send a smiley emoji all the time to people. You want them to have a good day and, or laugh out loud, so it really kind of, emojis all lighten the mood sometimes, Mm-hmm. They can be really fun, to see and brighten someone's day.
I'm curious. Now, you seem to be as close to an emoji expert as I've had a chance to speak to. Are there, I think there are a lot of contracts that would be a lot better and a lot clearer if emojis were used. But okay, we're not going to go there. But are there is there emoji etiquette? Are there places where it's other than contracts where you really shouldn't go there with emojis, and if you do go there, you might be sending a wrong signal.
It's a good question that you're asking, because it's as I have become familiar and using emojis, it's amazing how many marketing ads, how many emails, how many posts, and how many social media that communications I'm seeing. People are using more emojis than I ever dreamed that they would use, to be honest.
Yep.
But I love it, knowing how emojis were created and their purpose and use, and the creativity of emphasizing a word, or to put a picture with it. I just love the creativity of emojis, and also expression of the word to use.
Yeah. Now, you're saying earlier that there's an Emojipedia, and I know that there are, I was going to say hundreds, there's probably thousands of emojis out there in use today. Do you have any idea of just how many there are?
I don't know how many there are, but I do know they're creating them every quarter. Like they just came out with the emoji wrap, and some other emojis to add to it, which to me I'm like, great, I have more to write about, So I'm like, bring on the emojis. But no, they're creating emojis every day, and they're in the works. And like I said, there's a consortium, so it's just not Emojipedia. There's, I think, 7 companies. I'm getting into the technical of it. You have Apple, you have Samsung, you have Emoji One, and some other big organizations that are approving these emojis to be used in digital communications. Yeah. So you can't just create and put an emoji out there. It has to go through approval.
I'm curious how the approval process went for that little brown emoji that looks kind of like a cone head or like an ice cream cone. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about.
Exactly which one. Go in my potty book.
Hey, Melissa, where can folks go to learn more about your books and also learn more about you?
You can search me. I'm on Amazon. My books they're also, I have a Facebook page. It's under my author name, Melissa K. Moore, and I also have My First Emojis, a page there, and I encourage, readers, who want to join Emojis Club. You can sign up there. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram, under, My First Emojis also. And then, again, my books are at Amazon, all major retailers, Barnes & Noble, Target, and Walmart.
Awesome. We've had a great time speaking about What's My Emoji with the author Melissa K. Moore. Melissa, thank you so very much for being part of our show.
Thank you, Dad.
We hope you enjoyed our chat with Melissa K. Moore. Right now, Adam Kargman tells us about Abracadabra Whoopsie. Join us right now from Calabasas in California. He is the author of a recently named Reading with Your Kids certified great read. It's called Abracadabra Whoopsie. Please welcome to the show, Adam Kargman. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be on the show. Thank you.
I'm really excited for you to be on the show. Of course, abracadabra is something, it's a word that resonates in my soul, having done educational magic shows now for the past 30 plus years. That, of course, is one of the words that people expect me to use. I don't use it on stage, but I hear it an awful lot. Why don't you tell us about the book?
Well, the book is a really fun book about a little boy who is having all kinds of problems with his infant sister. She cries all the time. She messes up his puzzle pieces, wrecks his toys, slobbers on his toys, steals all the attention, and he's getting really frustrated with it. And one day he is given a magic wand, and he's told that if he says the words Abracadabra Whoopsie, he can make her disappear at will. And whenever he wants to bring her back, all he has to do is say Whoopsie Abracadabra. So things work out great for a while. Whenever he wants to play in peace, he just makes his sister disappear. When he's done, he brings her back. And then one day the wand is stolen. And he has to he has to rise to the occasion and get the wand back if he ever wants to see his sister again. And in the process, discovers that he really loves her and is kind of made aware of the bigger picture of things.
Yeah. It's our panel of teachers, educators, teachers, parents, and kids. One of the things they said was they love the fact that this book talks about that sibling rivalry, because it is such a real thing for, I think, every family.
Yeah, I think it's something that anybody with a sibling can identify with.
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I have 2 kids, and it was partly inspired by their own sibling rivalry. The book actually started off as an idea for a short film. My background is in filmmaking, and I wrote this screenplay for a short film. I started shooting it, and it became obvious that it was going to cost a lot more money and take a lot more time than I had anticipated. So I abandoned making the short film, and I thought it was a really great story that I should do something with. And my son was 4 years old at the time, and I read to him every night, and I thought, this would make a really great picture book.
Mm-hmm. You are a natural storyteller, as a filmmaker, as an author, and we're living in a time right now where the opportunities and the ways to tell stories, it's just, I remember being a kid and we were making films, but it was on this clear film that we took a magic marker and we drew on. And, that to me was technology. The idea that I could walk around with a camera, a video camera that I could do all these crazy effects with, never would have blown my mind back then. As a storyteller, what is it like living at this time with all these different options available to you?
It's really great. I mean, I haven't done a movie in a while, but the last one I did, I felt like I was able to do, basically on my home computer, what would be like the quality of a studio movie, in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. So, it's really exciting what you can do. And I think it's, I think it's a great time to be a storyteller.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you feel as a, someone who seems like you started off as a filmmaker and then you made the switch to telling this story through a children's book? How did that experience feel for you? And were you disappointed that you weren't able to make the book? Or are you really happy that you weren't able to make the film? Or are you really happy that you had to make the switch and it's now a book?
I mean, at the time, I was disappointed. that I wasn't able to make the film. I'm really glad that I was able to tell the story, and I think, in the process of telling it, I was able to discover this new medium, which is children's picture books. And I think my background as a filmmaker really influenced my approach to writing the book. I think it's a very cinematic book. I think that the kids who like the classic Disney movies and the Pixar movies are really going to like the book. My background as a filmmaker certainly informed the way that I interacted with the illustrator, and I kind of felt like I was directing the illustrator the way I would a director of photography or an art director. So I thought that the filmmaking background was very helpful.
Yeah. I'm wondering now, what does your child think of the fact that your child was the inspiration for the book, and now Dad is a children's book author?
Yeah, well, I have two kids, a son and a daughter, and the son was the inspiration for the boy in the book, and the daughter was the inspiration for the girl in the book. They think it's really cool. They love the book. They show it to all their friends. My son actually wrote a sequel to the book.
Really?
And my daughter now wants to be a writer and illustrator. So it's had a big impact on them. They really like it.
What draws you to storytelling? What is it about story that excites you and it makes it your passion?
I don't know if I can really answer that. I think it's a way of just connecting with other people and sharing things with other people.
That connection between people, that's one of the things that I think is so wonderful about stories, that we can, of course, when we're reading with our kids, we're connecting with our kids through story. When we're sharing our stories with our kids, when we're telling our kids about the people in our families that aren't with us anymore, when we're telling our kids a story of what we went through as kids and letting them know that we failed and that we fell down and that we made mistakes and did dumb things. We're connecting with those kids. How do you think we can encourage our kids to make connections with people who are different from them through story?
I think just reading stories about people who are different from them, reading stories by authors of different cultures. I mean, it's one of the great things about storytelling and reading stories is you're able to live vicariously through other people.
Yeah, that is. It's a real empowering thing. And, we talk a lot here on the podcast, too, about the fact that kids can kind of practice for life through story.
Yeah.
When they envision themselves in the role of a hero or somebody in a book that's facing a challenge, they can kind of see themselves and think, how would I deal with that? Well, we've had a great time speaking to the author of one of our most recent Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Reads. The name of the book is Abracadabra Whoopsie, and the author is Adam Kargman. Adam, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Bridget Leggett. That's the next episode of the show. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guest, Melissa K. Moore. Check out What's My Emoji. We also want to thank Adam Kargman. Be sure to check out Abracadabra Whoopsie. Want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan. Want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.